born in 1938. And for those with math heads, that makes me 38 years old. Well, it makes me 78 years old. Atlanta's been part of my life. I was raised up here. So on November 10th, 1938, my mom had me in Boise, and then a few days later they brought me to Atlanta, and this is where I grew up. So the tour I give you isn't that historical, but it's all about me. And it's my perception, and it's in my memories, and that's where it's going to be. So I'll tell you about when I was a little girl. I had my tonsils taken out in the hospital here, and when we get down there I'll show you where the hospital was. This cabin is the kind of cabin that my mom and either my Uncle Bob or my dad brought me to this little house. And this is what the houses were like in Atlanta in 1938. They were flat roofed, which amazes me because that keeps the heat in. They don't have so much to heat, but it also caves your roof in, as some of us discovered this last winter. So this is a miner's cabin, and they call them train houses or something. I don't remember. Aunt Florence lived in one. My Aunt Florence lived in one over on the other side of town, and I'll show you where that was. And that was just, they would just probably get up and shovel those roofs off. But I have pictures of people with the snow up as high as that roof. Why, I just never really understood why. And the front of it is very small. Then there's a little bit of the kitchen where they cook in the kitchen. And then the toilet was an outhouse. They didn't have water. They didn't have a flush toilet. They had an outhouse. And it was usually connected on to these little it was built right on with it. So that sounds kind of yucky to me. But that's how that was. So this is what a lot of the miners. When I was a little girl, when I was about 8, I'm probably not going to be a little bit random here, but when I was about 8 years old, Mom was working in the restaurant, and she would send me up to knock on the door and get the miners up, so the miner would catch the truck and go up to the mine and work. And it was dark, and I'm afraid of the dark still because of that. But that's a whole nother story. Then the church was built, and I don't know when it was built. It was built in 19, I don't know when. But there was a hospital right here. So if you just walk down here.
Geri, what do they use this cabin for now? Is there just a storage place? This little cabin here, do they use it for anything, or is it just a
This one?
No, a little teeny one right here.
No, this is the one that I was telling you about.
Right.
Yeah.
Who owns it now, Mom? Somebody.
Oh, and who owns it now is the guy that built this cabin.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Geri, how many people would live in a house that size? How many people would live in a house that size?
I'm not sure.
I mean, would a whole family live in it?
But they brought me home to it, and Mom put me in a dresser drawer, to keep me warm and cuddled up and sleep.
Top shelf or bottom?
Right. Where were you? Were you in the middle?
Top shelf. She's not old pearl.
Another story about it later, but Mrs. Hartman was my teacher from the 1st grade until the 8th grade, and she lived here in this log house. And she, Bob Lee, who built this cabin, it was his aunt. So there is a lot of connected, people generation after generation. But this is where Mrs. Hartman lived. And I don't remember her specifically telling me that I needed to grow up and go out and go to college and be a nurse. And I don't remember that, but evidently she instilled that something in me in those 8 years. This area right here, just about where that house was down on the other side of town. Belonged to Bill Seiko, who I never understood him. He was kind of a heavy-set guy, and he talked in some other language, and I think it might have been Czechoslovakian or Russian or something. And but that house was down on that side, so but it was one of the nicer homes in Atlanta in those years. And the house that was there before that house was the brothel. And the brothel lady's name was Annie Macquire. And Annie lived in a little house like I just showed you. and it was down there where the truck is. And at 76, she was on her roof, ripping it, and she was still running the girls. When even Grandpa Rowe thought she was taking it. She was a real intelligent, bright woman, and she ran the brothel. She was a wonderful madam. She loved to fish, and that burned down later on. But I like that story about it, so that's why I remember it.
What years was that, Jerry? What year did they have this brothel and all that stuff here? What years?
Well, I was born in 1938.
It was in the 40s.
40s.
sometime.
Yeah, probably in the early 40s.
I mean, do you remember it being here?
Yeah, and I remember Annie being here. Annie was also the town nurse. And that was a lot of mining communities. The brothel madam was
the nurse.
skilled in that.
Wow, interesting.
And Annie was who you went to. And right where this building is right here. This building right here is where the hospital was. And I had my tonsils taken out there when I was about 5 years old.
I had a broken arm and she fixed me up.
Annie Macquire. Everybody loved her. She was very well respected in the community. And one of her prostitutes married a man up here named Blacky Olasondo.
Oh, yeah.
And Blacky and my dad owned the hub. And then Dad went to the war. He got drafted. So he went into the war, and that's some more other stories. One of the prostitutes married one of the established businessmen, Mr. Alastondo, that owned the bar, Dad's partner, and they lived in that house right there. Sam Rober lived there till he passed away not too long ago, too many years ago. And the hub is where Dad went into the war, and Mom worked down at the hub, and I think Dad still owned it, but my grandparents ran it while he was in the Army, and I kind of think that's how that worked. But the distance from the hub to here, kind of keep it in mind, because this is where I would have to walk up here as a little girl and knock on that door to get that guy to come out.
In the dark.
In the dark. In the dark, that's right. But to me it seemed like it was a couple miles. Does that seem like a couple miles?
More or less.
Yeah, I'd give it to you.
Close to a couple miles. Yeah. And there was Googlawes out there. And so when Janny Sue came into my family life, I wanted to scare the heck out of her. I told her that the Googlawes were going to get her.
Hey, Grandma. What did they do at the hub? What was it? Was it like a food place? Was it where they fixed stuff?
It was a bar where they got really drunk.
Okay, it was a bar. Okay.
Well, that's pretty much any building in Atlanta, right?
I was just
There
confirming.
were, okay, and when we get by the hub, I'll tell you a story about my grandma, so your great-grandma. She didn't drink and she didn't smoke, but she loved to gamble. And she'd loved the wrestling matches in Boise.
Wrestling, Mom?
And she would go, Grandma Nana, Ethel, yep. So, and
Ethel.
she would watch the wrestlers in Boise. She'd go from the Idaho to the Mardi Gras area, where at that time was the wrestling match place. And when the wrestlers, Gorgeous George, she'd hit him with her purse. So I remember a lot with my grandma, and I'll talk to her some more, or tell you some more stories about that.